Council meeting is being convened in order to hold public hearings on land use matters. The public and anyone who believes their interest in property is affected may speak or present written submission. Those of you who wish to speak should, after being recognized by the chair, begin by clearly stating your name and your address. If you have a written submission, please make this known at the beginning. Everyone will be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard at the hearing. No one should feel discouraged from making their views known. Any person who wishes to present a written submission to council may do so. The essence of the submission will be read out by the city clerk. Written submissions will be retained by the city clerk, will form part of the record of the hearing. Each speaker may address the hearing a maximum of twice. The length of your first presentation will be limited to 10 minutes, providing your comments are relevant and the hearing is not being obstructed. Any additional presentation, which must be on new information, will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Members of council may ask questions of you following your presentation. However, the function of council members during a public hearing is to listen to the views of the public, not to debate the merits of matters with citizens. Any debate by members of council will occur at the subsequent vote. So the order of proceedings will normally be, firstly, the city clerk will briefly describe the matter under consideration. Then the applicant or their agent will be invited to make a brief presentation of up to 10 minutes. The city clerk will identify any written submissions received. Then we have oral submissions for the public, and further written submissions will be received. And finally, the hearing will be closed and matters may be considered. Please observe these rules. If you have any concerns with the manner in which the hearing is conducted, direct your comments to the chair. Mr. Clerk, first item.
Your Worship, item number 1 is Richmond Zoning Bylaw 8500, Amendment Bylaw 10244. Location is 10620 Williams Road. The applicant is Spira Ventures Incorporated. The purpose of this bylaw is to rezone the subject property from the single detached RS1E zone to the compact single detached RC2 zone to permit the property to be subdivided to create 2 single family lots. First reading was on March 8th, 2021.
All right, I understand the applicant Jeffrey Wu is with us. Is that true? Have we got that right? Did you want to make a presentation or just await questions?
I can briefly give an example of what we're trying to do and the purpose of the rezone application, and then I can take questions after.
Well, as I say, we have the report. We've read the report. Do you still want to summarize it for us?
Okay. In that case, no worries. I'll just take questions. Thank you.
All right. Any written submissions?
No, Your Worship.
And there's no delegations wishing to speak to the item. So I'll ask for council consideration on second and third.
Move second and third.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Councillor Wolf.
Thank you, through your worship, to the delegation who's able to answer questions. I just have a brief question about the development. I think one of the highlights from it, I've visited the site many times, walked a bike Williams Road coming from the Shell Road Trail and observed the significant tree in the front yard. My question is, how, as a developer and builder and the owner, did the group come up with the plan to save the tree on the property and ask for a variance? I'm interested, was it completely separate from staff? Was it a decision that came through working with the tree bylaw staff, the planning staff? So how did this decision come to be?
Great question. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. So originally when we went through for the rezoning process, we originally wanted to actually remove the tree. But then after we got a arborist report completed, and then we spoke to our planner, Nathan, and also the tree bylaw officer, Gordon, they came to us and said that in order to push this forward, that we have to keep the trees retention as a key priority. So given that, that's why we started to work around the tree and started to design like a deck in the front to make drainage easier for the tree, and also to lift the area up so we don't disturb the roots. So we originally did not go to the city with the intent to build all the infrastructure in the front of the yard for the tree. But given that Gordon said that the city is taking a stronger stance on saving bigger trees, then we adjusted our plan.
Great, thank you. Then just to follow up on that, or maybe even just a comment then, but I appreciate you being available to answer that. And I think more in your position could hear the success story that's come out of this. And pleased to hear that staff were sharing the comments and the direction that the city's hoping to go. And I also hope that this is, it's a common feature of the neighborhood that because it's a coniferous tree, you can see it throughout the year in all its glory. You don't have to just wait for the leaves or flowers to come. And I hope that the future owner of the property or the residents of it can take some satisfaction that the work was done to preserve it, because I think it will outlast many of us. So thank you very much.
We'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. And the other item, Mr. Clerk.
Your worship, item number 2 is official community plan bylaw 9000, amendment bylaws 10230, 10231, and 10232. Location is citywide. The applicant is the City of Richmond. The purpose of these bylaws is to implement the strategies and policies contained in the Farming First strategy into the official community plan. First reading was on February 8th, 2021, with second reading on April 6th, 2021.
All right, so the City of Richmond is the applicant. To staff, did you wish to speak to the matter? Say anything?
No, I have nothing further to add.
All right, so any written submissions?
No written submissions, Your worship.
All right. So we've got 3 delegations on this item. The first one is Dale Gurdiel Bad. So, Mr. Bad?
Good evening, Your Worship, Mayor and Councillors. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak on this topic. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Your video's not on if you weren't aware, but we can hear you.
Oh, you turn my video on.
Are you with us?
Yeah, I'm still here, just having an issue with the video. But anyway, I'll okay. Yeah, so for some reason the video is not turning on. Hopefully it'll come on shortly. But I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to talk on this topic.
We need a little louder, Your Worship.
Okay. And I was one of those members of the community that attended the open houses and had a good discussions with the staff there. Can you hear me?
We need louder.
Can you turn it up at all?
I've turned it up full.
All right, carry on.
Okay. Yeah, so, I do want to thank the staff for, doing the study here. One of the issues that has come to my attention that I think we need to address, and hopefully the councillor can look into that and the staff can do that, is the issue with the environmentally sensitive designations that we've placed on properties, and the hardship it's causing to the owners and prospective purchaser that wants to buy these properties. Just briefly, if your property has an environmentally sensitive designation, you've got to go through the development permit application, and you've got to do a whole bunch of carry a whole bunch of studies with agrologists, biologists, and I'll also come up with a farm plan showing what the intention is there. From talking to the staff, Edwin Lee there, it approximately takes about 8 to 10 months for this study to take place. And also the cost involved is anywhere in the 20,000 plus range for someone who wants to farm their property. I've got a couple of clients of mine that are currently in that dilemma. They have a property which is totally blanketed with ESA designation, and they're retirees. They want to sell the property, and however, every buyer that looks at it, and they're looking at the time and process it takes to remove the environmentally sensitive, it's just not feasible. So they're saying if I'm going to buy a property, sit on it for a year, and spend this extra cost, yet I cannot enter my own property, do anything on it. I'm not even talking about building a house. I'm just talking about somebody wants to plant potatoes, plant vegetables, do blueberry, whatever. But before they can do anything, they have to go through the process here with the city. So I'm hoping the staff can look at it, this one. I've had discussions with you, Your Worship. I've had discussions with you in the past about this. Rather than the owner having to hire these consultants, and if they can come up and drop their own plan as to say they're going to do vegetable farming, if we do some sort of a compliance deposit, put money in there, and let's say 20,000 or 30, whatever it is that they're going to spend on the plan itself, hiring consultants, if they can put that deposit, compliance deposit, and the city will give them a 1 year to clear the property, start the farming operation. And I think that is a win-win situation for the city and also for the owners. The city brings farmland into production, and whereas the farmer doesn't have to sit and wait for at least a year and over and spend $20,000-$30,000 on consultants. So I'm hoping somehow we can make these amendments, either put a covenant on the property or have a compliance deposit, and so that they can at least farm their property immediately. And that's our intention. I think that's councillor's intention. That's the public intention, is to bring farmland back into production that's been sitting dormant for 20, 30 years. And I have 4 or 5 owners currently in that dilemma. They're retiring, they want to sell the property, but nobody wants to buy it because they've got to go through this ESA process. And same thing applies if you want to build a house on it, you've got to get the consultant's report. I know we do allow individuals to build a home on their property. I don't know why we've got these strict guidelines that you got to go through a development permit application when they want to build a home according to the city guidelines on their own property. So I'm hoping somehow we can have a discussion with the staff and find a way to help these farmland property owners live on the farm, work the farm, and be able to, bring fruits of their labor onto the local markets here.
All right. Thank you. Is there any comments, questions of this delegation? I'm not seeing any. Thank you very much, Mr. Bod, for your presentation.
Thank you.
The next delegation would be Ben Deeman. Is he here?
Mr. Mayor, he's not in attendance.
So apparently he is not in attendance. And so the other delegate is Navi Boyle, also on this item. Mr. Boyle?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes?
Perfect. All right. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to participate in the discussion. Just wanted to touch on a couple of points about farming, and just as my experience, I'm a realtor here in Richmond too, and I encourage people to farm on their land and buy farming property to put back into production. And my family is one that is currently in the process of doing that. We've taken a property that's been sitting abandoned for at least 30 years and putting it back into production. One of the changes I'd like to see take place is the hurdles that a farmer has to jump through and the expenses a farmer has to go through just to get a farm started. For example, my dad's been farming in Canada full-time for 35 years. I was told by city staff that wasn't enough experience, and we had to get a farm plan for an acre and a half. I spent almost $20,000 on a farm plan for an acre and a half. By the time I plant and I'm in production and I get the farm going, I'm going to be well over $100K. So, just that being said, how's a small farmer supposed to produce and make any money back on a farm? These are some of the things that we have to look at and some of the things that we have to change. Because as of now, it's easier to go to different cities and farm. And I know Richmond's been making a lot of changes to encourage farming, but the loopholes are going to discourage farmers and push a lot of people away from farming in the city, and land is just going to go to waste. There's going to be no food security. There's going to be no farming with the way things are working out right now.
Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Okay. Does that conclude your presentation?
Yeah, so overall, I just want to see changes in making it easier for farmers to put, and cheaper, more cost-effective, to put farms into production. If we're making all these bylaws to change agricultural land, we should be doing something to support farmers.
All right. All right, sir. Thank you very much. So that concludes the submissions from the floor. So I'll ask for a motion on third reading of bylaw 10-230. Moved and second. Any comments? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. And on 10-231, third reading. Moved and second. Discussion, all those in favor, opposed, carried. And on bylaw 10-232, that's moved and seconded. Councillor Wolf, you had a question?
Yes, I do, and it's just on this, well, 10-232, but also at, I guess it's item number 6 as well, which is also 10-232. But I've been in support of the other two aspects so far. My question to staff is something I didn't pick up the last time I went through this similar report we've had now a few times. I noticed there was no Mr. Conkin as a delegate today, but he's enjoying his time. My first one is about page 51. I didn't see the fine lines in it, I guess, before. So page 51 shows our existing status of road improvements in the ALR. And I know there's a number of farmers who are concerned about access. So I'm looking at this map, and then the legend at the bottom, all the ones that are kind of proposed are dotted lines. And I only see, now if staff can clarify the dotted lines that I see, or maybe you see other ones. So there's one that's an extension on the east end of Blundell Road from, I guess that is, I don't know, goes all the way till 7 Road. So that proposed, is that proposed from the city? Is that on city property? I know the area, there's an eagle nest right in that spot, so I'm concerned. And then the other dotted line I see is kind of over the tunnel on the Richmond side, like maybe Rice Mill Road. Are those proposed? Are they proposed by the city? I don't recall seeing information about those. So can staff comment? And is there anything else I'm missing on the fine print in this map?
Through your worship to Councillor Wolf, I guess simply put, these are high-level proposals for road extensions. There's been no approvals been made. There would be approvals required not only from the city but also from the Agricultural Land Commission. So it's a very high-level map.
And your worship to staff, is there any other ones on there that I don't see that are being proposed in that high level, or is it just those two?
Through your worship to Councillor Wolf, no, it'd just be those two at the moment, yes.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. Then my final comment, and I'd like to make an amendment if I may, to change the language, and I guess maybe the best page to identify that is the very last page of the report, so the very back of our binders, page 97. It's the bylaw page, the one item. So I'd like to make the amendment to remove the whole thing, maybe. And I guess it's not an amendment, or maybe we all have to vote it down to have the same outcome. But I'd like to. There's only really one part to it, and I'd like ESAs to not be up for grabs to new farmers who can make millions on tipping fees. So the $20,000 for the farm plan isn't the biggest thing holding back. I've heard from a lot of farmers who lease property in farmland in Richmond. And I think everything else in this report, the last two items, the staff have nailed it on the actions, the request to provincial ministry, everything's bang on. It's this one that I'm concerned. It's a slippery slope for new farmers who are not established, don't have the reputation, don't have the experience, but maybe have money to get a plan done. So I'm very concerned that we're addressing environmental sensitive areas in this way. And I think you could hear from some of the delegations and some of the comments at previous meetings on this item that I just don't think this is the way to go, and I've tried in the past. So, Your Worship, should this be an amendment, or should it just be a vote in opposition? What do you?
Well, if you don't like the whole thing, then just vote against it. So.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
All right, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? Those opposed? It's carried with Councillor Wolf opposed. Moving on to adoption of 10-230. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And 10-231. Moved and seconded. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And 10-232. All those in favor? Just a minute. I'm ahead of myself. I'll have a motion on 10-230, so that's moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried with Councillor Wolf opposed. Someone move adjournment. Thank you. We're now adjourned.